The Aztecs, a mighty empire that built floating gardens, raised colossal temples, and ruled one of the most dazzling cities the world had ever seen. Their story is filled with warriors, gods, sacrifices, and legacies that still shape Mexico today. In this video, we're diving into 67 wild facts about the Aztecs, from their legendary founding and everyday life to their bloody battles, Spanish conquest, and lasting influence on the modern world. Get ready, because history is about to come alive. 1. The Aztecs called themselves Mexica, not Aztecs. The term Aztec was invented later by historians. They knew themselves as Mexica, from which Mexico gets its name. 2. They believed they migrated from a mythical homeland called Aztlán. Legends say they traveled for generations, guided by their god Huitzilopochtli, until they found their promised land. 3. Their capital city, Tenochtitlán, was founded in 1325. It began as a swampy island settlement and grew into one of the largest cities in the world at the time. 4. The founding of Tenochtitlan was based on a prophecy. They were told to settle where they saw an eagle perched on a cactus eating a snake, an image still on Mexico's flag today. 5. The Mexica joined with 2 neighboring cities to form the Triple Alliance. Along with Texcoco and Tlacopan, this alliance had expanded their empire across central Mexico. 6. The Aztec Empire was built on conquest and tribute. Defeated cities had to pay tribute in food, goods, or labor, helping Tenochtitlan thrive. 7. They created chinampas, or floating gardens. These man-made islands allowed them to grow crops in the shallow lakes surrounding Tenochtitlan, making it a food powerhouse. 8. At its height, the Aztec Empire ruled over 5 to 6 million people. Though centered in the Valley of Mexico, its influence extended across much of Mesoamerica. 9. The Aztecs had a strict social hierarchy. At the top were the Tlatoani rulers, followed by nobles, priests, warriors, merchants, artisans, and at the bottom, common farmers and slaves. 10. Every Aztec child went to school. Unlike many ancient societies, education was mandatory, with separate schools for nobles and commoners. Boys learned warfare and farming, while girls studied household skills and religious duties. 11. Marriage was arranged but celebrated. Most marriages were organized by families, but weddings were elaborate events involving feasts, rituals, and symbolic tying of garments to unite the couple. 12. Their diet was mostly vegetarian. Staple foods included maize, beans, squash, and chili peppers, supplemented with amaranth, tomatoes, and cacao. Meat was rarer, usually fish, turkeys, or dogs. Chocolate was a sacred drink. Cacao beans were ground into a bitter, spiced drink, often flavored with chili, and used by nobles and warriors for energy. 14. Markets were massive and well-organized. The Great Market of Tlatelolco hosted thousands of vendors daily, trading everything from food to jade, obsidian, feathers, and even slaves. 15. Cotton was a luxury fabric. Only the elite could wear cotton clothing. Commoners wore garments made of maguey agave fibers. 16. Aztec homes were modest but functional. Most families lived in single-room houses made of adobe or stone, with a small garden plot for food. 17. Aztec society was surprisingly gender-balanced. While men dominated politics and warfare, women could own property, run businesses, and even become priestesses or midwives with respected roles. 18. The Aztecs believed the universe was in constant danger. They thought the world had already been destroyed 4 times and that they were living in the 5th sun, which could end at any moment without proper rituals. 19. Human sacrifice was central to their religion. The Aztecs believed human blood nourished the gods, especially the sun god Huitzilopochtli, to keep the universe alive. 20. Not all sacrifices were the same. Some victims were war captives, others were volunteers, or chosen through ritual games, and offerings ranged from hearts to bloodletting with obsidian blades. 21. The main temple of Tenochtitlan was the Templo Maya. It was dedicated to 2 gods, Huitzilopochtli, war, and Tlaloc, rain, symbolizing the balance of life. 22. The god Huitzilopochtli demanded constant war. Aztecs believed their sun god needed prisoners of war for sacrifice, which drove their relentless military campaigns. 23. The rain god Tlaloc was equally important. Children were sometimes sacrificed to him, with their tears believed to bring rain for crops. 24. The feathered serpent god Quetzalcoatl was a god of wind and knowledge. Unlike Huitzilopochtli, he was often seen as merciful, linked to learning, creation myths, and cultural advancement. 25. Aztec priests held immense power. They oversaw rituals, sacrifices, and the calendar, often making political decisions alongside rulers. 26. Religion was part of everyday life. From birth to death, Aztecs performed rituals. Newborns were bathed in sacred ceremonies, and funerals involved offerings for the afterlife. 27. They believed in multiple afterlives. Warriors who died in battle or sacrifice went to join the sun, while others might go to the underworld Mictlan, a long, difficult journey for the soul. 28. The most prestigious warriors were the eagle and jaguar warriors. They wore elaborate costumes of feathers or jaguar skins, symbols of courage and ferocity. 29. Aztec weapons were deadly but unique. Their main weapon was the macuhuitl, a wooden sword embedded with obsidian blades that could decapitate a man or horse. 30. They used atlatls, spear throwers. This weapon hurled darts with incredible force, giving Aztec warriors an edge in long-range combat. 31. The Aztec military was highly organized. Young men were trained from an early age, and each neighborhood contributed soldiers, making warfare a community duty. 32. Aztec armies could mobilize tens of thousands of warriors. Campaigns often involved massive forces drawn from Tenochtitlan and allied city-states. 33. Defeated enemies sometimes became allies. Many subject states provided troops for Aztec campaigns, though resentment lingered, which the Spanish later exploited. 34. The Aztec ruler was called the Tlatoani, meaning speaker. He was seen as both a political leader and a semi-divine figure chosen by nobles. 35. The Tlatoani didn't rule alone. He was advised by councils of nobles, priests, and military leaders, making governance a shared responsibility. 36. Moctezuma I was one of the greatest Aztec rulers. He expanded the empire significantly in the mid-1400s and established tribute systems that filled Tenochtitlan with wealth. 37. Tribute was carefully recorded. Officials documented exactly what each subject city owed, from food and clothing to exotic feathers and precious stones. 38. Moctezuma II ruled when the Spanish arrived. He initially welcomed Hernán Cortés, believing he might be linked to the returning god Quetzalcoatl. 39. The Tlatoani lived in grand palaces. Moctezuma II's palace reportedly had hundreds of rooms, gardens, and even a private zoo, filled with exotic animals. 40. The Aztecs used cacao beans as currency. A turkey egg might cost 3 beans, while a rabbit could cost 30. Cotton cloaks and gold dust were also used for trade. 41. Luxury goods were status symbols. Exotic bird feathers, jade, and obsidian were reserved for nobility and priests, reinforcing the social hierarchy. 42. The Aztecs were master engineers. They built aqueducts to bring fresh spring water into the city, ensuring clean water for drinking and bathing. 43. Causeways connected the island city to the mainland. 3 massive stone causeways stretched for miles, allowing movement of people, goods, and armies. 44. They also built dams and dikes. The most famous, the Albaradon of Nezahualcóyotl, kept fresh and salt water separated in Lake Texcoco. 45. Astronomy was highly developed. The Aztecs carefully observed the stars and planets, linking them to their religious calendar and rituals. 46. The Aztec calendar was twofold. They had a 260-day ritual calendar, Tonalpohualli, and a 365-day solar calendar, Xiuhpohualli, that worked together in cycles. 47. Solar eclipses terrified the Aztecs. They saw them as dangerous omens that might signal the end of the current world cycle. 48. Mathematics included the use of zero. They used a base 20 counting system with dots and bars, essential for trade, engineering, and astronomy. 49. Medicine combined science and spirituality. Aztec healers used over 100 medicinal plants alongside rituals and prayers to treat everything from fevers to wounds. 50. Aztec art was deeply symbolic. Everything, from pottery to sculptures, was filled with religious imagery representing gods, sacrifice, and cycles of life. 51. They were skilled in featherwork. Artisans called amanteca crafted vibrant cloaks and headdresses from tropical bird feathers prized across Mesoamerica. 52. Codices recorded Aztec knowledge. These were painted books on bark or deerskin, filled with colorful images showing history, rituals, and tribute lists. 53. Music and dance were vital in ceremonies. Drums, flutes, rattles, and conch shells accompanied dances that honored the gods or prepared warriors for battle. 54. Oral storytelling was highly respected. Elders passed down myths, poetry, and history through recitations, ensuring cultural memory across generations. 55. Poetry was considered a noble art. Aztec rulers like Nezahualcóyotl of Texcoco were famed poets, blending philosophy and beauty in their verses. 56. Hernán Cortés landed in Mexico in 1519. With just a few hundred men, he began a campaign that would ultimately topple the Aztec Empire. 57. Many native peoples allied with the Spanish. Groups oppressed by Aztec tribute demands, like the Tlaxcalans, joined Cortés, giving him thousands of extra warriors. 58. Smallpox devastated the Aztecs. Brought by Europeans, the disease spread rapidly, killing thousands and weakening the empire before the final siege. 59. Cortés returned with a massive indigenous army. With thousands of native allies and Spanish weaponry, he laid siege to Tenochtitlán in 1521. 60. The fall of Tenochtitlan was brutal. After 93 days of siege, starvation, and disease, the city collapsed. Cuauhtémoc, the last Tlatoani, was captured and executed. 61. The conquest ended the Aztec Empire. On its ruins, the Spanish built Mexico City, marking the beginning of colonial rule in the Americas. 62. The Aztecs never truly vanished. Although the empire fell, millions of descendants of the Nahua people still live in Mexico today. 63. The Aztec sunstone is iconic. Often mistaken for a calendar, this massive carved disc actually represents Aztec cosmology and the gods of the suns. 64. Day of the Dead has Aztec roots. This Mexican holiday blends Catholic traditions with pre-Hispanic rituals honoring the dead. 65. Aztec art and symbols remain national icons. The eagle perched on a cactus from their founding myth is the central image on the Mexican flag. 66. The Aztecs had a rich philosophical tradition called Tlamatinime, those who know things. These thinkers explored ethics, balance, and the meaning of existence, leaving poetry and proverbs that still survive today. Fact 67. The Aztec story shaped global history. Their fall opened the door for Spain's vast empire in the Americas, changing the world's balance of power. We've uncovered 67 facts about the Aztecs, but their legacy is far from forgotten. From the words we speak to the food we eat, echoes of their civilization still shape our world today. Now, I want to hear from you. Which Aztec fact surprised you the most? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you enjoyed this journey, don't forget to subscribe to Forgotten Chronicle HQ and hit the bell icon so you never miss more deep dives into history's lost empires and untold stories. Thanks for watching, and remember, the past is never gone. It's waiting to be rediscovered.